Welcome to the Luxury State of Mind podcast, where we focus on intentionally crafting a life that feels tailor-made for you. On each episode, you'll learn how to create luxury in your everyday life and celebrate the uniqueness that is you. I'm your host, Damio Shodi, and I'm excited to help you develop a luxury state of mind. Hey there, welcome to the Luxury State of Mind podcast. I'm your host, Damio Shodi, and on this podcast, my goal is to help you focus on living in luxury every single day of your life. So no matter where you are, where you're coming from, how much money you have, everything, it does not matter. On this podcast, I'm teaching you how to live a meaningful life, or a life that is meaningful for you, and that in itself is luxury. So we break luxury down into 3 pillars. If you're unfamiliar with those pillars, definitely listen to episode 2 where I break those down, where I talk about identity, intentionality, and freedom of choice. And then I also give an example on my latest episode of how I was able to do this when I made my big move by myself from Florida to Texas. I talk about that on my moving testimony episode. So definitely listen to that one as well. And then I'll just give a little update since we're here, since we're chatting. I did get my hair done. So if you're like, oh my gosh, like, girl, you're looking nice. Check out the YouTube. If you're listening to this on audio, you're probably like, okay, but check this out on YouTube. You can see my new hairstyle. I have not done my hair in a long time. And this was something that I wanted to do for a while, but just was putting it off and just focusing really on other things that were more important, to be honest. But to celebrate something, an achievement that happened in my own life, in my career, I decided to get myself braids. So I got the boho braids. I know this is the hair of the summer. And I'm with it. Usually I'm not with the trends, but in this case, I'm with it. I'm with everybody doing it. So I absolutely think they're cute. They're gorgeous. Like, I'm looking at myself now and I'm just like, wow, I love this. So check that out. And maybe for you too, you want to do your hair this summer, and that's, something that's meaningful for you, or that you want to do, then definitely go do that. But yeah, I just wanted to share that little update, on how I'm living in luxury in my own life, where I'm at right now. So on this episode, we're going to discuss 5 mentalities that will keep you feeling broke and unfulfilled, which is the absolute opposite of luxury, right? We think of luxury, we want comfort, we want, opulence, we want all the things that we consider luxury. And on this podcast, luxury means living a meaningful life. All the pillars, all the things are leading to a life that is uniquely tailor-made for you, that feels meaningful, or that is meaningful. But I promise you, if you keep up these 5 mentalities, you will not live that luxurious life. And these are things that I've had to work through myself, right? So, and continuously working through. When you notice these certain mentalities, don't just, let it slide. Really think it through and come up with a new plan on how we can change the trajectory of what we're doing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to dive into those 5 mentalities and give solutions on how you can try things differently so that you can lead to that more meaningful life for you. So the first mentality that we're going to discuss that will leave you feeling broke, unfulfilled, blessed, and disgusted. That phrase is crazy, but I just find that so funny. But number 1 mentality that will keep you feeling broke and unfulfilled, right, is having the mentality of, I just have to take what I can get. Basically, whatever comes my way, I just got to take it. Like, this is going to be the best that it's ever going to be. And that is a very easy mentality to slip into, and depending on your background, right? So a lot of these things are determined by how we grew up, our environment, what we've been accustomed to. And just to encourage you, that's why the freedom of choice is one of the pillars, is that you have the opportunity to change. You have the opportunity to choose how you want to, as an adult, move forward from maybe what you have picked up in the past. So, people may say things like, oh, what is that phrase? Like, I don't know. There's this phrase that people say, like, be happy with what you get and something, something. I don't remember the phrase. Maybe you know it, and maybe I'm just talking trash. But there is something that we tell kids, like, oh, just be grateful for what you get, right? Or living in that way of just, yeah, like whatever comes, like just be grateful for it. Or even from a Christian perspective, oh, just, take whatever you can get. Like, this is clearly God's best for you. Anything that comes your way, this is clearly the Lord's will. Things like that. But that can be a very dangerous mentality to live in, because what if what your mind says this is the best, or what people say is the best, there's actually something more for you, or there's actually something better for you, or what your desires are actually important and are meant to be heard. Because what happens is when you just take what you can get, whatever is given to you, whether it be, whatever you possess, or the people you hang around, the jobs that you take, and you just, let it flow, go with the flow, and just, oh, I guess this is what is supposed to happen all the time. It robs you of the opportunity to be an active participant in your own life, and to map out where it is that you want to be, or to look the way that you want to look, to feel the way that you want to look. So an example of this, a very small example, but it was pretty eye-opening for me, and a pattern that I noticed. When I was younger, I was somebody who only shopped on the sales rack, which shopping in sales rack is not a bad thing. In itself, it is not a bad thing. You have to be mindful of the type of mentality that you're picking up from that. So I would only shop on the sale rack. I would see things that I want, but I'd be like, oh, I can't get that. I'm only going to shop on the sale rack. But what I realized is over time, as I got older, is that my closet was full of clothes that I don't like. I constantly had clothes I didn't want. I always felt like I could not piece things together. So I just, for years and years, kept feeling unfulfilled. And this vision that I had of what I want to look like, especially with clothes, because that's something that's actually important to me. I value the way that I look, right? And I value, having a nice sense of style. But every time I was just kept putting more stuff in my wardrobe that didn't align with what I wanted. So eventually I had to come to a realization that, okay, look, if this is not really what you're looking for, this is not what you want, you don't have to pick it up. Just because it's on sale doesn't mean that you have to buy it. It doesn't mean that when you go into a store, dummy, you have to purchase something every time you go into the store just because you're at the mall, or just because, you're browsing or whatever. So in that understanding of, okay, you don't just keep getting, I shouldn't just keep getting what it is that I feel is available to me. I can be more choosy with what I want. I can take a little bit more time to discover what it is that I like in clothes. What do I value in them? What silhouettes work for me? And clearly that takes a little bit longer, right? That is not something we want to be able to go into a store and just buy something quickly, or we want to be able to find what we want and purchase it, which in most cases we can do that. But there are also times that I personally don't want a closet, or not also times, but there are, like, when I think about myself and what I want, I don't want a closet full of stuff that I cannot wear, or that I don't know how to piece together. That does not match the vision of who I feel that I am, or who I want to be, and who I can be now. It just doesn't match. So it would be better for me to be a little bit more intentional about the things that I'm looking for in the mall or online, or taking a little bit more time to shop, and not always having to give in to buying things just because it's on sale. But when I think about the cohesiveness of my closet, it just doesn't match. And I know that's a very small example, but I think this can be applied to a lot of things, a lot of different areas in our lives. It can even be applied to the type of people that you date, for example. So if you're single, that could be a thing too. Just, because some people just, whatever's available, like, oh, somebody, asks for your number, and you're not really sure, but you don't really want to give it out, but okay, this guy gave me attention, so I have to do it, even though you really don't want to. It's like little things like that. So what you're teaching yourself is what you want just doesn't matter over time. And then you begin to settle. And that's something that I spoke about on the pillar episode about the epidemic of settling. That's what I call it. That a lot of women, I feel, that we continuously keep settling. And that's why we get irritated or we're not happy with the results in our lives, because we're just willing to take what we can get rather than to be choosy. So how to overcome this mindset is to think things through. You don't have to impulsively do things or get things, or just because people are saying, that's another thing too. People may say that this is all that's available. This is all that you can have, or this is the range in which we want you to stay in, and this is how far we want you to go. That doesn't mean that that's all that there is. Maybe for you, I actually spoke to somebody who lived in a small town. I'm always fascinated by like small town mentality. I'm actually watching a show that has that type of thing there where everybody's in everybody's business. People don't typically leave the town. And then when they actually do leave the town, people get upset with them. They're like, why did you leave us? Why did you, all those different things. I'm very, very like, whenever I watch stuff like that, I'm like, it's so strange to me. And I spoke to somebody who lived in a small town yesterday, and he said that, yeah, people were upset. And then they felt like he neglected them and all this stuff. But if he had just settled for staying in his small town, he wouldn't have seen the bigger parts of the world. And that's what he was saying. He said he felt that people missed out on opportunities and more opportunities to experience life because they wanted to stay with what they could get. So if generations of people are staying in one area and only staying there, that's all that they know. And this is the best that it can be. But it's like you have the opportunity to change that for yourself. You have the choice to be able to be like, okay, I know this is what's being presented to me, but what else is there? What else can I find? Is there something else out there for me? Is there more? Do I have to just take what's being presented to me? So that's in one mentality that definitely look into. Am I just taking whatever comes my way, whatever I can get? Even, I'm learning, even in the job area, they give you an offer and you don't negotiate. That's another thing too. Just take it. Well, I'm just grateful to have a job, but it's like, but they expect you to negotiate, which is something that you have to learn. I think that's just something that we learn over time, but it's that same mentality. So you never know, even the smallest things in your life may be taking a big ripple effect on other things. And I just want to encourage you that you don't have to take what you can get, like whatever is available. You can slowly make decisions. You can be choosy about what it is that you want to move forward with and what aligns with who you are and who you want to be. All right, so the second mentality that we're going to look into that will keep you feeling broke and unfulfilled, hashtag not living in luxury, okay, is when I get to a certain place, then things will change. When I reach this level, then I will give more. When I reach this level, then I will start investing. When I reach this salary or whatever, then X, Y, Z. And that type of mentality, and I actually spoke about this on the live that I did. So I did a 30-day challenge of what it means to live in luxury. I spoke for 30 days on different ways you can live in luxury and helping you define what luxury means to you. So if you want to check that out, look at that on YouTube, where all those videos are listed. And in one of the episodes, I spoke about how starting small is a great thing, right? Because what happens is, and I'll give the example of what I gave there. Actually, you know what? I'll give the example right now. So speaking about investing, you may have a picture in your mind that, okay, I want to have a lot of wealth. I want to have a lot of money. And I actually got this example from Courtney Sanders, because she shared her investing journey. And right now, maybe you're only making a certain amount of money. But in your mind, you know that, okay, I want to be wealthy in the future. I want to, whatever it is that you want to do. It is so easy to just say, you know what? I don't necessarily have the money to start investing, saving, whatever, I can start that when I have more. But the issue is you haven't built up the stamina where you are to be able to fulfill that, what you desire in the future. So you may think that, oh, once I get to this certain level, okay, then I will start investing, or I'll start, being more wise with my money, whatever it is. But you have not started somewhere. So now when you get the opportunity, you finally reach the goal that you want, you're probably most likely not going to start. And therefore you're pushing back the progress that you could have made. I see that in life. And again, everything that I'm saying, I'm also, learning as well. I'm seeing that everything compounds over time, especially when it comes to making money. We can be wowed, and I fall into this trap very often about, what's happening on social media, how people are, crazy things are happening in a year and they're making a whole bunch of money. And it's like, wow, like they're making what you make in a year in like a day. And it feels like it all happened so quickly. But in reality, those are sometimes one-off experiences, or they've been laying the foundation for a while and we're just now seeing them. That's typically what it is too. But in reality of life, to get good things, things have to compound over time. Decisions over time lead to results, not necessarily, oh, I made this action today and then tomorrow or even a year from now, I will see the result that I'm looking for. If you want to see a result later on in your life, you have to start today. The investing thing is perfect. Money compounds over time. So in order to build wealth for your retirement or whatever it is that you want to do with your money in the future, you have to start today. So it has time to compound. Time is the biggest thing that helps results come to fruition. So you have to give time to something. Or if you want to build a habit, you have to start small. If you want to travel, an example of that, like, you want to be somebody who travels, you can start a travel fund so you can be able to afford to travel. It does not have to be a lot of money. It can be $25 every paycheck, $5 every paycheck. But the point is you're building a mentality to be able to perform eventually. When, the time comes and you make more, you've already been building the habits. Or now it's like, okay, I have the money saved up. I can spend it freely and guilt-free. I think about this when I think about how people think about people who make money or who are rich. There's this disdain for people that have money. I really do feel like people want money, but they cannot stand people who have money, who are considered rich or wealthy. Very interesting complex there. They'll be mad at people that have money and be like, okay, they should be giving more money to the poor. They should be doing this. They should be doing that. Why aren't they giving their money out? Mind you, you don't even know what's going on in their pockets. That's number one. We don't know what people are doing. And we'll condemn somebody who has wealth that they should be giving more. But then it's like, but are you giving where you are right now? Oh, if I had more money, then I would give. But why not just start today? Why not start today with the little money that you have? Why not give today? Even if it's $5, $10, $15, $50, whatever it is, build the habit up so that you are becoming that person today. Because I don't want it to always be like the future person. I actually listened to a great live a couple days ago, or a small clip about how we're always aspiring for the future and never, living in the present. Always continue the person we want to be, the person we want to be. But it's like you can become that person today. Absolutely today, you can become that person. And you can train yourself to become that person. And in the future, you've already been that person. So it's nothing new, but it has to start somewhere. So second mentality that will absolutely leave you feeling broke and unfulfilled, not living in luxury, is when you get to a certain place, then things will change. Third thing that will keep you feeling unfulfilled, not living in luxury, is you're afraid to disappoint others and say no? Can all my people pleasers stand up? This is for you. I get it. I absolutely get it. Let me let you in on something. For years, I used to think that I was a really bad person, which now sounds like crazy, but just come with me, roll with me here, okay? I used to think that I was absolutely a bad person because the culture that I come from, everybody says yes to everything. Oh, go and walk 5 miles and get me water. Yes, ma. Oh, go and do this, do that. Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, sir. Yes, ma. Yes, ma. If you know, you know. And me, in my heart of hearts, I'll be asked to do something, but I'm not always happy to do it. I was not always happy to do it, and I would feel bad for feeling that way. So I would say yes, and then I would do it begrudgingly, and then I have an attitude doing it, and it's better if I just didn't do it at all, and I was honest that I either don't want to do it, don't have the bandwidth, whatever. But because I wanted to please people, because internally I felt that I was a bad person because when I was asked to do something, I did not want to do it or was not capable of doing it, it really dictated my life. And I realized it's part of the culture that I was brought up in, that everybody just says yes to everything. So maybe you're scared to say no or to disappoint people. And that is literally keeping you from feeling fulfilled in your life, living a meaningful, luxurious life, not being able to communicate your needs and desires to others effectively or well. So you're just do whatever they tell you to do, but you in your heart is upset. I think of that verse that the Lord loves a cheerful giver. The word there is cheerful giver, or that you shouldn't give out of compulsion, right? There are things in life that you may be doing that you are doing it, but the heart at which you are doing it is not good. It's out of bitterness. It's out of perfectionism. It's out of whatever it is. And you think because you're doing the action, you're being helpful, but you're not helping anybody because we can see it on your face that you're not happy to do it, but you just feel like you have to show up. You have to do it. And that in itself is literally limiting your bandwidth to live how you are called to live. So we're talking about luxury. We're talking about, making time to do the things that bring you joy and that bring meaning to your life. That could mean so many things for you. But if you are saying yes to absolutely everything and anything that anybody asks you to do out of fear of what would they say? I don't want to look this bad. All these things, you are blocking your own life and your own growth and your own enjoyment, so that when you can give, you don't even have the bandwidth to give out or to give freely. You don't even have the bandwidth to support people in the way that you actually desire, because it does come from a heart of you want to be there for people. You want to be helpful. People have been helpful to you. You want to do the same thing for others, but at what cost? And for some, it may be even costing your health. It may be costing your mental health. Like this particular point can go so deep. I absolutely love the opportunity to be able to celebrate with people and to know what they are doing in life that makes it more meaningful and more exciting, equaling luxury. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
I am celebrating releasing my first single from my very first album, which will be coming out later this year. It feels really amazing to be able to put my music and art out there into the world, and I'm super excited for what's to come.
So congratulations to you, Vanessa. That is absolutely amazing. The fact that you were able to release your single, especially leading up to your birthday, was such an amazing accomplishment. So well done. And for being a multifaceted girly, she's a corporate baddie and she also sings and produces her own music and writes it and all the things. So we just want to celebrate you as a community. really well done. And we are here to support you on your journey as you continue to share your gift with the world. So if you are somebody who wants to share your wins with us as a community on the Luxury State of Mind podcast, we want to support you. Share with us what's been going on in your life that you are celebrating, whether big, like a release of a song or an album, or even small that you took a nap because you're trying to rest more and you did something nice for yourself this week. We want to hear all of it because it all leads to living a fulfilled life. So send us a voice note. You will find the link in the description of this episode and we will feature it on the podcast. So thank you so much and we'll get back into the episode. One thing that I had to learn is that I need to communicate what I can and cannot do, and it may disappoint people. But I have to do it because I want to give. My heart is to give. My heart is to help, but I want to do it in a way that is actually helpful, that I don't have a grudge in my heart. And of course, there are going to be some things that you may have to do, whatever the situation may call for it. But usually, you want to be able to communicate what it is that you need in order to do whatever is being asked of you, or just say, no, I cannot do it. An example of this and how I learned to this, because everything that I'm saying has to be put into practice, and I've had to practice it and continuously keep practicing it, right? I remember there was a time, during COVID, hanging around family a lot, and some of my family would come over and spend time at my house, right? And it felt like I was responsible for catering, taking care of them and all this stuff. And to be quite honest, I do not have a bandwidth for a lot of people for a lot of time. That's just me. I actually learned that and had to be comfortable with that in that time, because I was like irritated, like they were in my house and I was mad. I'm like, what are they still doing here? Like, can they go home? But I felt like I couldn't say that. And I remember I had to call my mom, and I told her that, hey, I know that so-and-so is here, but can you please let them know that if they want to come, can it be when you're here, so that, we can both share the load of like helping, taking care of them, whatever. Because I realized I was snapping. I was frustrated. I was in my room. I was doing all things. I was detaching, but it's because I know I only have a certain bandwidth for a certain amount of time with a lot of people. So I, in that moment, learned I need to be able to communicate that. It was a big deal. I really felt like what I was saying was taboo. I felt like, oh my God, how could I say this? It's crazy. I should be wanting to spend a lot of time around these people. I should be wanting to get them this and get them that. And I should want to do that, right? But in my heart of hearts, it's like I was just dying inside. So I learned that, it's okay to communicate your needs to people. It's okay. I went on a group trip with a couple of friends a couple of years ago, and I let them know that, hey, if I'm quiet for a certain period of time, just let it be that. I just need time to collect myself, detach a little bit, and then I can come back, feel energized, and, be with the people. And then in other times, it's just, I cannot do this. And not feeling like I have to over-explain. That was a big one. Not feeling like I have to over-explain as to why I can't. Being able to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I won't be able to do this. In some cases, you may have to explain, but in other cases, I'm so sorry, I'm just not available at that time, but I can do this, or I'm just not available at that time. Practicing that. So that is a huge mentality that will keep you feeling unfulfilled and not living in luxury, not living a meaningful life, because you are spreading yourself way too thin across so many people, projects, things, your job, whatever it is. You will not live the meaningful life that is for you. Okay, we're almost through. We've spoken about 3 different mentalities thus far. Last 2 that we're going to hit on is, or the 4th one that we'll hit on is taking the experiences of others and believing them as your own. Ooh, let's repeat that again. The 4th mentality that would keep you feeling broke, unfulfilled, not living in luxury is taking the experiences of others and believing them as your own. So hearing other people's experiences about what has happened to them, it could be anything. Working in a certain field, moving to a new place, the dating scene, marriage. It could be a hobby, whatever. Taking those in and never stopping to think that what if this does not have to be my story? I know that they said this. My family has said this to me, but what if? Just stopping and thinking that what if? Because what happens is we start to take on other people's stories and begin to internalize them as our own. So now we're having responses to experiences or to opportunities that are not even ours. We're having outlooks on experiences that don't even align with who we really are, but it's because of what somebody else said. And that's why mindset is so important. And I'm even realizing it more now that, man, sometimes you just got to clean out your mind because there are certain things in there that you heard from somebody and your subconscious has now taken it on as its own, and now it's become a belief for you. But sometimes we have to listen when people talk and say to ourselves, that doesn't have to be my story. And even if it's happened generation after generation, it doesn't have to be my story. I don't have to take this on as my own. Mine can be different. And another version of this is always expecting the worst, constantly expecting that things just won't work out. If this happens, this won't work out because it didn't happen for so-and-so. It didn't happen for my friend. So therefore, it's just not going to work out. So in order to change this or see things differently, you need to ask better questions. When situations present themselves, when culture presents itself, when the past has presented itself, you have to be more clear on what it is that you actually want and the vision that you have, and ask the question, what do I need to do in order to get that? What do I need to do in order to get that? And ask more questions. So somebody is saying, there's no good this, there's no good that, this happened, that happened. Really think, look at the person. You know the person. Did there certain characteristics that they had that maybe, could have led to this problem that maybe they're not able to see? Or is there a different path that can be taken? Can I take a learning from their experience? Ask better questions versus just taking things in. And that requires intentionality. And that's why these pillars are so important. None of this requires money. This is all what you do within yourself. This requires being an active participant, not just allowing anything and everything to flow into your mind and just sit there. And sometimes it's not easy to identify that there's something that doesn't belong here that I've been allowing to tell me a story about a situation or a desire, and that may not be true. So we have to be diligent about what are we taking in? What have we seen that would have given us a story? And how can we change that story? Are there any touch points? Are there any other examples? Because that's a great way. Look for other examples of what it is that is opposite of what you've been told or experienced. Look for other examples of how situations worked in other people's lives to give you touch points to be like, okay, this is possible. If it happened for them, why can't it happen for me? It may not be in the same way. And it probably won't be in the same way. Actually, it will not probably be in the same way. But it gives you a bit of encouragement that, oh, something like this could be possible. It gives you a deeper truth because you had one truth before that says, oh, this can't happen. Or this is not possible, or this is where you'll always be, or whatever it is. And then you can see somebody who maybe has been through what you've been through or gone through, and has made it to the other side. And now you can look and be like, okay, maybe it doesn't have to be that way. Maybe there's other choices that I can make that could lead to another result. So ask better questions. Investigate. Be an investigator on the experiences that other people have told you that are truth, and investigate them and find touch points. So that's number 4. That mentality will, if you can change that mentality, it will make a huge difference on how you are living out what is meaningful for you. All right. And then number 5, the last mentality that will keep you feeling broken, unfulfilled, is a mindset of lack. The mindset of this won't work for me, or I would never do this. Why bother? Or actually, let me separate that into 3. This won't work for me. I would never do this. Why bother? I had a conversation a while back with a group of people, and I remember I was telling them that sometimes I like to go into, or I go to this particular mall. And again, doesn't mean I have to buy anything. I just like to see what the people are talking about, what's going on, what clothes can I look at? Can I look at beautiful things, right? And this mall in Texas is a very nice mall. And they were like, why would you do that? I say, oh, you don't go? They're like, no, I can't afford anything there. And I'm like, okay, just because you can't afford it doesn't mean you can't see it. Oh, no, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to go. That type of mentality of, because I cannot do right now, I will not, why waste my time? I cannot do it in the future. Like, that type of thing will hold you back from experiences and opportunities that you didn't even know existed and you didn't even know you wanted. Sometimes the vision of what you're looking for is your version of luxury, right? Is the floor. It's not even the ceiling. It's just the floor, because it's only what you know and what you've experienced. But have you ever tried to go out and experience something new? And not tell me, because I told one of the girls, I said, don't you ever tell me you won't do something. Don't tell me you're not going to do something. I don't want to hear that. Never just say, I'm not going to do that. No. Go and explore. It doesn't matter if you can afford it or can't afford it, whatever. A new experience opens up your mind. It takes away the mental baggage of what you thought was and brings you into a new place of what could be. So don't limit yourself. That's a lack mentality. Or, why bother doing this? I would never do that. You know, something that I've been into recently is hiking. And I'm still a beginner, so I always tell people I'm not hiking up on mountains and stuff at this time. I did that one time and it scarred me for life. That's why I was like, I don't do hiking. But now, you know, I may be a granola girly. I might be a hiking girly now, right? And this is just not something that my kinfolk usually do. Well, that I thought, actually. Let me say that I thought that we don't usually do. But to my surprise, there are a whole bunch of Black folk hiking up trails in this Texas area. And if I had a mentality of, I'm not going to do that, that's not what I do, we don't do that, then I would never have experienced that. This is something new to try. I would have missed out on a new experience if I just say, I have a mental framework of, I don't do that. We don't do that. Like, every time I talk to a family member and I say, oh, I'm going to go hiking, it's been very few. Like, I'm not a professional, right? I'm just trying it out. It's new. But every time I talk to this family member, they're like, are you sure you're not going to run into wild animals? Are you sure you're not going to, yeah, in the wild? All these things. And if I wanted to, that type of questions can literally hold me back and be like, okay, maybe it's dangerous. Maybe I shouldn't go. You know, I could feel that way. But I'm like, you know what? Yes. I'm gonna go. If I run into a wild animal, we gonna figure that thing out. But where I'm walking, I don't know about, running into like a whole bunch of crazy wild animals. But we gonna figure that out. But it's not gonna stop me from going. It's not gonna stop me from going. Another way that lack can show up is this won't work for me. And that is the one. Fighting through that one. Ooh. Or I can't have that. I can't do this, or I can't experience that, or do this strategy. Oh, this is not going to work for me. I've had to fight through that and even tell myself new stories continuously. And that can come from, this won't work for me, can come from a mentality of not trusting yourself and feeling like, oh, I'm not trustworthy of getting this result. I actually wrote something down on a sticky note today, to help me even not think that way. And it doesn't sound that way in my mind. This won't work for me, but it comes up in different ways. So I am capable of achieving my goals, and I am worthy of being trusted. So hitting on that I'm not capable type of feel, different things happen, tells you a story, and that story can make you feel like you're at lack and continuously make you feel in a position of lack. But telling yourself a new story, identifying it, and changing the narrative in the mind can help so much to overcome that mindset. So a way that you can think differently is to experiment and try new things. Be open to what could be. That's ultimately what it is. Be open to what could be. Don't allow the limitations of today to limit what you can do or what could be possible. Don't allow, I can't buy anything in that store or that mall, so I just won't even go in. No, go in, see what's going on. What are the people talking about? What are the girls talking about? And experience it, because you never know what ideas can come out of that. Or experiment with new strategies, experiment with new things, so your mind is opened to new things. So those are 5 mentalities that will keep you feeling broke and unfulfilled and not living in luxury. Okay, and a bonus note as to why you're feeling unfulfilled, broke, not living in luxury. I guess number 6 would be you don't believe God at his word. Sometimes we read this Bible and it just feels like words on a page. I experience that from time to time, maybe even often. Sometimes I can be like, what is, like, okay, this is all nice things to say that he says, but it's like, if this is truth, then this has to be true and it has to apply. And the beauty of the word is it can, when you have the Holy Spirit, and if you are a believer, right, you can look at the word and he can say something, like a certain word will jump out to you and it can mean something completely different than what you've read before. And it gives you insight on what it is that you may be dealing with, or the mindset, or the perspective, or how God sees you. Being able to look at the word and understand how God sees you is so important. And I feel we continuously need to be reminded of these things and to know that we have a very capable and active God that is behind us, that is moving and doing things in order to bring us to his will for what he wants us to do in our lives, which will ultimately bring us to that feeling or that place of fulfillment, all these things. So we're walking on that path. So not believing God at his word is a huge killer and will limit and also fuels a lot of these other type of mindsets as well. I remember an example of this, just kind of looking at a biblical story, right? I remember when I was reading about how like setting boundaries. There was a time that I was really like, okay, how do you set boundaries? I was trying to learn, and I wanted biblical examples of this. And I remember I looked at the story of Moses and Jethro, and how Jethro told Moses that, hey, you need to have like leaders that are going to help you, to support you on, governing the people. You can't do all this stuff by yourself, because he was getting burnt out. So that's how they appointed the leaders of Israel. And that was an example of a boundary and structure and order, a biblical example. And it spoke to me in a way that made sense for me at the time. So sometimes there are things there are words and things in this Bible that the Holy Spirit has to breathe on to make it become alive for you, and that can help you when you're navigating all of these things, and to help you see yourself the way that God sees you. So I would say that that's a bonus. Not believing God at his word. I would say invite him into, when you read scripture, to know, what is like, okay, what does this mean? How do you see me? How should I see myself? Listen to other teachings or read books and be investigative. Investigate things. Don't just take it as it is. Investigate the word, and truly grasp some kind of understanding of, maybe this, like, God may be seeing me in this way, which is probably and almost completely different than how we see ourselves. So that can help. Okay, so those are 5 mentalities with that bonus of ways that will leave you feeling broken, unfulfilled. And we've gone through different ways of how you can overcome these mindsets and overcome these things, so you can walk away feeling that fulfilled, luxurious life that you are envisioning for you. So if you enjoyed this episode, leave a comment on our YouTube page. Let us know what stuck out to you. What mentality are you mainly struggling with? Or what other ones did I not mention here that you're like, girl, only if you knew? Let us know in the comments. And let me know your version of luxury. What do you define as luxury for yourself? Very curious about that. Would love to know that. And don't forget, you can listen to this podcast on wherever you find podcasts. Wherever you listen is there, okay? So thank you for listening to this episode, and I will speak to you on the next one. Bye. Thank you for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please share with a friend and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also view the full episode on YouTube. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you on the next episode.